Hello again. This is Foti, an Orthodox Christian with a USB mic, and today I want to discuss the idea of value and the different contexts in which we think of value. So I think when many people think of value, they think of money, or something that's precious, or maybe someone that's precious, you know. So I want to talk about all that. Now, I just want to say something. I always have these videos with the backdrop of Pokemon TCG Pocket, and even though I rarely comment on the game itself as I'm talking over it with seemingly unrelated words and stuff or commentary, the fact is I really love this game. Even when I get annoyed when I play the Celebi deck, and I mean that more when I play it myself because it's just RNG. It's just flipping coins. I'm not a big fan of RNG. So that's a value statement right there. So the the upside, for instance, of Celebi, which relies on coin flips, can be very high. But the downside, could also be just as low. Sometimes you just need two coins to fall heads. You have like maybe 4 or 6 flips, and you get like one head maybe. I feel like that's happened to me quite a few times. Or when you get like all heads when you only needed one, you know, it's like cool, but I wish I could have saved these. You know, but anyway, in regards to games and things like that, when making a deck in this game, right, you think about a couple of factors. So for me, I think of how consistent is the strategy, how easy is it for me to implement what I want to do. So I'll think of is the Pokemon that I'm using, is it a single stage evolution? Is it a two-stage evolution? Is it no evolution? Such as in the case with the Pikachu EX deck with Zapdos. Both are basic Pokemon, relatively easy to set up, and very quick to get going. You know, so there's a lot of value in time, right? And there's a lot of value in the output. In this case, the damage counters that you're able to you know accrue against your opponent. So that's value in this game. And also, whenever you get a pack or you do a wonder trade, there's a small percentage chance that you'll get a really good card. In wonder trade, you have like a 20% chance of maybe getting the card you want from someone. And you take those risks. As far as I'm aware, there's no secret to finding like a good pack. It's just chance. Though I still try to go for the crinkly wrapped boosters. Though I don't think it really makes a difference. But anyway, um, so that's value in Pokemon TCG. In terms of time, in terms of deck building, in terms of the investment of the in-game currency, or if you really want using the game currency, I'm sorry, real life currency to purchase the in-game currency. And I'll admit, I have a premium membership account, which I almost never pay money for free to play games. But I really enjoy this game so much that you know I figured it was worth it to me. So there you go. So now let's get into money then. So maybe this is relatable. I'm sure it is to many of us today. But I remember growing up, and I come from like a working class family, and I remember my dad basically having to work every day to help make ends meet. Like he'd work his job, as a was it 9 to 5, uh, so like 8 hours a day, and maybe he'd get overtime before they took that away. Then he'd do like odd jobs, like lawn work or you know things like that. And then he'd like to try to do like some stuff on the side, like selling nothing illegal, but selling a like antiques and things like that. Now I just remember like seeing like how much we had to struggle just to make ends meet, and seeing how much money was such you know a concern for my family, and it created a lot of stress and tension. And then I grew up, and I go to college. So I'm like the first person in my family to graduate college, at least my immediate family, I should say. And I went to school for art. you know, uh, famously a lucrative field. I joke, of course. But I liked art. Initially, I went in to be a police sketch artist, and then I found out actually they just have like a computer that does that, or there's like a program. And honestly, a good sketch artist, or a good sketch, I should say, for that purpose, I found that is actually better if it's less detailed. Because if you make it too detailed, too realistic, you're limiting the chance that someone actually finds the person. Because if it's too specific, we only have like a few details, then people might look for something, or for someone that's not there. So you gotta make it like somewhat broad, from what I understand. Anyway, so I found it out like basically during my freshman orientation, and so I stuck in it for like a semester, and I hated it. Believe it or not, the people who are in school to become cops and lawyers, especially the ones that want to be cops, they're not the brightest. I gotta say, not saying that about all cops, but at least the ones that were in my class. They didn't seem very intelligent or well adjusted, and they're bullies. Also, I felt like I was in middle school, and by that I mean just reading the work they did. Like their just their language skills. That they were lacking. But anyway, a little off tangent there. But anyway, yeah. So I went to school for art, and naturally when I left school, I did nothing with that art, the art skills that I had, and it might seem like a waste. And of course, when I had to take student loans, partially to pay for my tuition. I did get grants as well, though, but I still had to rely on loans to make it through college. And for those unaware, student loans, the interest starts accruing immediately. They don't wait till after you graduate, which I did not know at the time. So, well, I feel like most jobs nowadays they expect you to have at least a bachelor's degree. So that's at least 4 years if you graduate on time. I didn't. So 4 years you're paying 4 years plus, we'll say, of paying for college. Unless you're fortunate enough to have you know scholarships, or maybe you come from a more financially stable family. But for many of us, that's not the reality. Anyway, I spent a good, say, 9 years about working as like a substitute teacher, a paraprofessional, and later on, I worked with adults with special needs and stuff. And it's only within like the past year that I actually have an average salary, where I'm making more money than I ever thought I'd make. Which is still isn't a lot. Like I said, it's average. And but despite that, though, the it's still not that much. In the grand scheme of things. Like if I were to live on my own, I'd be able to make ends meet, like just barely. You know, so this isn't like the old days where if you had a minimum wage job, you could be like a waiter and get yourself through school, or you could you know just live off minimum wage. Because for those unaware, minimum age, oh my god, minimum wage has stayed fairly stagnant, while inflation, cost of living, and all that, and also the average income for people has stayed also stagnant. I'm sorry, but the inflation is going up, the cost of living is going up, but the money that the average person makes is not going up. So this has led to people relying on both parents to work, which initially you could get by with just one person in the household working. But now that's no longer a reality for most people. So while I was in school, and after I graduated, and as I mentioned, the jobs I had to you, not very glamorous. I started to feel a little down on myself, which I'm sure many people have, because it's rough out here. It's not easy. It's not easy living. But you get experience, you persevere. Sometimes you get fortunate in that opportunities present themselves, and sometimes you pick up skills along the way, or in my case, I surprised myself, with what I was able to do and accomplish. So I just want to say that money is a very well, it's important, but it should not be the end goal. Your end goal should not be to make money. After a certain point, I forgot what it is now because inflation. But after a certain amount of money, your happiness does not actually increase. You do need some money, at least in the society that we live in. You do need to make a certain amount of money to make ends meet and have some income to buy nice things. Whether it's experiences like going on trips, whether it's some form of luxury, maybe like jewelry or cars or whatever, or just eating out at a nice restaurant with like your loved ones or loved ones, or your family or whatever. So money's not bad. It's only bad when it's money is the end goal rather than people. So we live in a society. I'm sorry. We live no, it's very low. We live in a society that values money over people, and this is evidenced by I think just living in the world. You see that. We see people that served our country, as soldiers in the military, and they come back with PTSD or some life altering injuries and stuff, and they come back and they're treated like they're broken toys. Many of the homeless population were veterans, but they weren't given any sort of relief. And the first responders, during the September 11th attacks, they had to fight like so hard to get compensated for their bravery, and that's actually going to be undone shortly by the incoming administration because it'll save money. Now, there's my issue with this. Besides, I mean, of course, like you know, you're effectively making people's lives harder and more difficult. We can put a price on a lot of things. Right? I can put a price on the microphone I'm using right now to speak to you. Put a price on the laptop that I'm using and the phone that I have. Uh, those have like value that we can clearly you know uh, dissect, I guess, or you know understand. But for things that are more abstract, or more how can I say intangible, it's hard to put a price on that. So like happiness, what's the price to be happy? Is the price of happiness a certain dollar amount? I mentioned that before, somewhat, but that's more just having your needs met. It doesn't have to be like that, though. We could live in a society where you know we get housing, we get our needs met, and then we work just for the luxury goods that we like. I mean, there's so many homes that are empty, so many apartments that aren't occupied because of money. You know, so you can go to a grocery store or a restaurant, and at the end of the day, most of them will throw out the food that was not eaten or sold that day. That'll go bad. So rather than give it to the homeless people, they'll throw it out, because if they do give it away at the end of the day, then people will just wait for it to be free for when it's going to get thrown out, and then just get it like that. So this is a big inefficiency of capitalism, where you have uh, so many goods, so much stuff that after a while, in the case of the food, it has a very short shelf life. So you almost have to you know destroy it after a while to maintain its value, because there's a surplus. That's like the supply and demand. So when demand is not there, or demand is there but the supply is too high, then many companies or stores or whatever, they'll you know just destroy their own stock. So what am I getting at here? The price of a person, for me personally, is priceless. Like there's no amount of money that you could tell me to describe the value of a person, because people are priceless in my worldview, in my heart, and in my mind. So if it means that I have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to help someone, um, I, I I can't really afford that, you know, many times. But if it's someone I know and I could help, then I'll do my best, even if I'm only to give that person, maybe a few months or a year or something extra of life. That to me is worth, infinitely more than the money I gave up. Since I gave up, that I exchanged to help them. So I think regardless of your worldview, whether you're religious, non-religious, atheist, or whatever, or your political persuasion, I think if people aren't at the core of your ideology or of your value system, then that's really upsetting, and I think that's part of why many people suffer, because for I don't want to say most people, but there are many powerful people in high positions that don't value people, besides maybe themselves or the people that they deem worthy of humanity. But for me, it could be someone homeless, it could be someone I disagree with, it could be someone that hates me, it could be someone that I never met. And yet to me, they're all still valuable because they're people. So that's my TED talk on value. And yeah, I guess that's really it. So have a good day or good evening whenever you're watching this. I don't know you, most likely, but I value you. And I'm sure there's other people in your life that do as well. And you never really lose until you give up. I think Big Crit said something along those. Sorry, I think Big Crit said something along those lines, and it's very true. Anyways, take care.